Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. The New York Mets play the Arizona Diamondbacks. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cash for Life from the New York Lottery. You could win $1,000 a day for life. By People's United Bank, checking without curveballs. Member FDIC. By Honda, great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Well, sometimes the road is smooth. Sometimes the road has some pitfalls. But as the Mets move their way through this long road trip out west, they're hoping that eventually they come to the beautiful finish at the end of the road. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Arizona. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game series against the Diamondbacks. The Mets' offensive woes continue. 18 runs in their last 12 games. However, last night 3 home runs, including one from Michael Conforto, as the Mets hope that Conforto can find his prior form.
Well, I think, Gary, with Cespedes out, you just don't know how long he's going to be out. We have talked for ages now that Conforto has to come back. You see that side view there, right on top of that baseball, hitting it the opposite way. When I think of Michael, I think of a line drive hitter. When he's hitting line drive, his mistakes sometimes go out. That was a good step, and a negative came a positive for Conforto.
Meanwhile, one of the real bright spots for the Mets this season has been the performance of Seth Lugo, both in the bullpen and now more recently as he makes his 3rd start tonight.
Well, it really doesn't matter where he pitches. Every place he's been excellent, and the reason he's excellent is because he really has mastered kind of the art of pitching. A 4-pitch pitcher that mixes all in. I know he gets a lot of play for his curveball, but his fastball velocity has been great, and his other 2 breaking balls have been great also.
And on the other side for the Diamondbacks tonight, it'll be Zach Godley, who had a great season for Arizona last year, not so good in 2018.
You know, Gary, his ERA is just under 5. He's a guy that will throw his curveball early and often. He has not had great control of it, although you see his last start at Colorado, he had the strikeout pitch working.
A couple of curveball artists tonight. Seth Lugo for the Mets, Zach Godley for the Diamondbacks. In the land of the cactus, the Mets and the Diamondbacks. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY. Cancer Center, dedicated to advancing cancer research, treatment, and care. More science, less fear. By Ram Trucks, from towing to hauling, work or play, Ram Trucks will power you through. And by Spectrum, hey Mets fans, get the best TV, internet, and voice service today at Spectrum.com. Celebrate Jacob deGrom's performance this season with a special ticket offer. 4 tickets for $48. The offer is in select seating areas and is valid for all home games through Sunday, July 15th. Subject to availability. For tickets, visit Mets.com/deGrom. Hey, that rhymes. Time for T-Mobile's Hats Off for Heroes. And we honor Johnny Vandermeer, who on this date in 1938 threw the second of his unprecedented back-to-back no-hitters in the first ever night game at Ebbets Field. He was in the U.S. Navy in World War II and missed 3 seasons of action because of it. Vandermeer still sits alone in the record book as the only pitcher ever to throw 2 consecutive no-hitters. This is the most scenic of places. It must be.
It is.
Cactus and rocks and, well, come on out to Arizona. You can see for yourself. Meanwhile, we got a baseball game to do. First pitch will be next. Whatever it takes. Geico Mets starting lineup tonight. Only one change from yesterday. Kevin Plawecki gets the start behind the plate. Jay Bruce sits for the second straight night with a sore back, and Mickey Callaway said it'll be another full night off for Bruce. No pitch hitting in addition to not starting.
Well, you see the Toyota number for Godley. Really, the issue has been the walks in the 70 2/3 innings pitch. 39% of the time he'll throw his curveball. Only 34% of the time will he throw that fastball.
Conforto's home run last night was his 8th of the year, one of 3 solo home runs the Mets hit last night. They had only 4 hits in the game in a 6-3 loss. Godley ready to go, and his first pitch of the night to Conforto is taken outside, and we're underway. Conforto has good career numbers against Zach Godley. 5 hits in 9 at-bats.
Mets are facing Godley for the second time this year. He pitched a pretty good game but lost at Citi Field. Facing off the Jacob deGrom in May. And he falls behind on Conforto 2-0. Godley had a really good year last year for Arizona. 8-9, 3.37 ERA, but this year his walks are up, his strikeouts are down, and his numbers are not quite as pleasant. And a fastball in for a strike to Conforto, 2-1.
It's a little cutter there by Godley. We came on talking about the Conforto home run. He also had a good walk last night's game. Did not go out of the strike zone, which I think is him seeing the ball a little better.
Frazier and Nimmo to follow for the Mets in the opening inning. So we got to talk about the sock and shoe combination for Godley. You got the black socks with the green stripes, and then the red and black shoes.
It's hard to look at personally, but since I'm colorblind, I can't say anything.
It's perfect for you. You don't lose anything by looking at it. That's high ball 4, and Conforto's on with a leadoff walk. I believe that Zach Godley got that combination together just for you, Ron.
No, maybe I picked it out. It's a cheap defense. Alex Avila behind the plate. Lamb, Ahmed, Descalso starting tonight, and Goldschmidt, of course, and Peralta, Dyson, and we finally got the picture of John Jay. Very good. There you are, John.
We've made great strides forward tonight as a nation and as a broadcast.
Look how amazing he is. A founding father, and he can play right field.
So the Mets have the leadoff man on, and here's Todd Frazier, who was 0 for 4 last night, now hitless in his last 12 at bats. And facing the full shift, he bluffs a bunt and takes the cutter for ball 1.
Remember Godley when he pitched. Here's a shift on Frazier.
I mean, if he pushes a bunt to the right side, he could run for days. Goldschmidt holding the runner, the entire right side open.
They turned a double play in that configuration in last night's game off Frazier.
That was his last time up in the 8th inning last night as the Mets were trying to rally. And again he shows bunt and takes the curveball for a strike, 1-1. It's not a bad idea. I mean, we think all the time about the left-hand hitters in the shift dropping one down, but there's no reason you can't push a bunt. Once you get it past the pitcher, there's nobody to field the ball.
Yeah, so it's not as much direction. It's make sure you bunt it hard.
And Frazier fouls one off his leg, and it's 1-2.
I was out watching batting practice today and watching Mickey Callaway's guys take their swings, and Frazier one after another. Home run after home run after home run. And I know BP, you don't judge it, but boy, he was on everything.
Homered in back-to-back games to close out the homestand against the Yankees, but 0 for the road trip so far as he tries to work his way back from the disabled list. Just 5 for 31 since his return. Asked him about his leg today. He said it feels great. He looks great in the field, but he has struggled at the plate. And he bounces one slowly. In comes Lamb. The running throw gets Frazier as Conforto moves up to second. That's the first out of the night. So 1 out now. Brandon Nimmo, who delivered the keynote last night, a first inning home run, his 9th of the year.
Here's our defense. We're going to catch it as it's shifting and changing. And see Nick Ahmed, he's already moved one side of the bag and now the other.
It's interesting, isn't it?
He's got to keep Conforto close, so I think he's going to do it by staying right behind Conforto.
But he could do that from the other side of the bag too.
Conforto can see him much better there.
Right.
You know.
Last night the Mets didn't have a single plate appearance with a runner in scoring position. They get one in the first inning tonight. And Nimmo takes a curveball for a strike. Mets last 12 games, they are 3 for 48 with runners in scoring position. And Nimmo slashes one back into the screen, and it's 0-2.
It's always interesting, a baseball season. Brandon Nimmo, spring training, trying to win a spot, thinking that maybe he'd be the extra outfielder on the bench. Here we are in June 15th, and he's your third place hitter. You just never know.
Not only a third place hitter, but posting by far the best offensive numbers on the team. OPS over 950. In the dirt, a good stop by Avila. That keeps Conforto at second.
Well, Avila's always been great at blocking the balls in the dirt. When he was an all-star catcher in Detroit. A little older now, but still pretty spry.
Part of the three-man catching rotation for the Diamondbacks. Avila's lost some playing time recently because he hasn't hit at all. But he still brings those defensive skills to the table. Godley works at a snail's pace. 1-2. Hit up the middle. Ahmed behind the bag is there to snare it and throws out Nimmo for the second out. A bullet that came off the mound, and that helped out Ahmed to get a good hop. And Conforto goes to third, 2 away.
As soon as the curveball was called, Ahmed moved just a little to his left, and that made it an easier play for him up the middle in the shift. Good hitting by Nimmo, unlucky.
See that long hop off the mound.
Yeah.
So Nimmo hitting a bullet into bad luck. 2 out and a runner at third. Here's Cabrera. Has dribbled 0 for his last 14, 4 for his last 48 after his terrific first 2 months. And that's a great stop by Avila. That saved a run. They had like a shortstop on that play, backhanding that ball.
I mean, in the other batter's box and backhanded by Avila. We saw this from Godley at Citi Field. He throws so many pitches in the dirt.
How come Rich Gedman couldn't make that play?
Geddy's pretty strong. The next time I see him, I'm going to have you ask him that.
You think he's been asked that a few times
Yes.
over the last 30 years? The curveball bends in for a strike, 1-1. Ronnie mentioned Godley's curveball usage. He's thrown that curveball 39% of the time this year.
Only Lance McCullers, who throws it 43% of the time. His breaking ball for the Astros has thrown it more.
Conforto at third with 2 down. And Cabrera lays off the sinker, and it's 2-1. So Godley, 28 years old. Bamberg, South Carolina native, same town that produced Mookie Wilson.
So he's only got 6 pitches.
That's why it takes so long. Catcher only has 5 fingers. Cabrera fouls off the curveball. He hung that one, 2-2.
First month of the season, Cabrera never missed that pitch.
Jose Bautista hitting 5th in the order again tonight. Would be next. Two coming, and he sells that one. Vila's had to be a hockey goalie in this first inning. Glove saving a beauty.
Exactly. Try to get the knuckleball mitt out.
Call Josh Tolby.
He was in this organization in spring training. I don't know if he still is. He's the reigning National League Manager of the Year, Torey Lovullo.
He's got his team in first place despite all their ups and downs this year. 2.5 game lead over the Dodgers as the day began. 3-2 to Cabrera. And as dribble goes down swinging on a fastball away, and Godley strands Conforto at third after a leadoff walk. A couple of ground balls and a strikeout gets Godley through the first inning. And Cabrera's struggles continue.
Managed in absentia really for the Red Sox for a while when John Farrell was sick. So, you know, he got a little bit of training before he came over here.
There's a starting lineup, a little different look with the right-hander on the mound tonight. He's got all his lefties in there, 6 of them against Seth Lugo tonight, despite the fact that Seth has been dastardly against left-hand hitters. John Jay leads off. He had 2 hits last night, his 3rd straight multi-hit game, and he takes ball 1.
I mean, all of Lugo's Land Rover numbers are fantastic. Only 30 hits and 45 2/3 innings pitched. Batters were hitting 185 against him.
Jay grounds one for Cabrera to handle, and Lugo's got his first out.
The Lexus Mets defense behind Seth Lugo tonight. Pilecki gets a start behind the plate. Dominic Smith had a hit in last night's game. And the outfield will have Jose Bautista in there again because Shea Bruce is getting another night off.
No founding fathers in the Mets defense?
No, we don't have any of that.
I mean, the closest we've probably come is Stanley Jefferson.
That's right, Stanley.
Here's Paul Goldschmidt. 1 for 4 with his 13th home run last night, and he takes a big rip at a slider, 0-1. Goldschmidt rejuvenated over the last couple of weeks, hitting .526 over the last 9 games. He was in such a bad mode when he was in New York last month.
Yeah, 20 for his last 38, 12 of those extra base hits, including 5 home runs. 1 last night.
Lugo coming off 6 scoreless innings against the Yankees his last time out. Probably as dominating performance as he has turned in as a starting pitcher in the big leagues when you consider the lineup he was facing and the need that the Mets had that night for him to go deep and pitch effectively. And it's the only win that the Mets have in the month of June, and Lugo authored it with those 6 scoreless in that 2-0 win Sunday night.
I mean, so economical too. 84 pitches. Those were his 2 starts. He also had a relief appearance before that where he retired, got 9 outs and 27 pitches.
He's working on 13 straight scoreless innings coming into the night, and Goldschmidt may break that. Deep right field, Nimmo to the wall, and it's out of here. Paul Goldschmidt goes the other way for his 14th home run of the year, his 2nd in 2 nights, and the Diamondbacks have the early 1-0 lead. Part of what makes him so good, a guy who can homer from line to line.
Well, if you go away, you've got to keep it down. You cannot leave it up. We've seen The slider down, avoid his bat, but anything up and away, he will put a powder on it. That ball was covered.
Well, he's making up for lost time.
Yes, he is.
Here's Jake Lamb, who also homered last night. Diamondbacks hit 4 home runs last night. Lamb, who has struggled since coming back from a shoulder injury, hitting just .211 for the year.
You know, when he's asked about how he made it happen, as you see the contact there, Goldschmidt just said he just kept working and working and working at it.
There's the curveball from Lugo, dropping in for a strike, 1-1. Well, what's your choice, really?
Yeah.
You know, you can start changing things, but then you get away from what made you successful.
Well, I mean, that's where the Mets are right now, right? They're just working on it, trying to hope they come out of it.
Don't have too many guys with track records like Goldschmidt, but there's where Goldschmidt ranks now, 33 extra base hits, despite all those struggles, moving up on the league lead. And that powers to the inside corner, 2-2.
Our old friend Dave Magadan is the hitting coach for the Arizona team. There's Mags. Get a smile on your face when the big guy goes deep, as if you're the hitting coach.
And Lamb looks ugly going after that one. First strikeout for Lugo is the second out of the inning.
I think that was a changeup there from Lugo. Mixed in a lot of curveballs, one fastball in, and it was the changeup down. Nice placement.
Got a little look from Lamb after that last pitch, like, ooh, I didn't know you had that.
That one too.
So 2 out, and now David Peralta, who had a big night last night with a couple of home runs. He's had a big couple of weeks. Like Goldschmidt, he was in the doldrums. He had 7 home runs 2 weeks ago. He's got 7 home runs since in his last 13 games.
Last year, I think he hit 14, so he's already at what he had last year.
And this changeup in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Lugo dials it up to 95 and gets ahead 1-2. Looks like Lugo's going to be in the rotation for a while. There's really nothing to report with Noah Syndergaard, who's now gone 3 weeks without starting a game. And the longer he sits out, the more likely he's going to have a rehab assignment once he's ready to pitch.
Yeah, because he's not throwing, because they're trying to make sure they get all the swelling out. So they're just doing running and stuff like that.
So for the time being, this is where Lugo is going to stay. As much as the bullpen needs his help, and it was never more evident than last night, that's where in a close game, a spot where Lugo might have been called upon in the 8th, but Levinson and Sewald got the call instead, and both struggled. 3-2 coming, and it's tapped foul.
It makes Lugo tough, especially in the 3-2 count. He's really got 4 pitches he can throw for strikes. That was a change up there to Peralta.
He's only thrown his changeup 8% of the time this year, but he's gone to it quite a bit here in the first inning. Again, the 3-2, and he comes to the inside corner and misses for ball 4. Only the 10th walk Seth has given up in 46 innings this year.
Second baseman, number 3.
Now Daniel Descalzo, who at age 31 is probably getting more playing time than he ever has before. It's the 44th game he started, so what's that? A little less than 2/3 of the games.
Always a super sub when he was on the St. Louis Cardinals.
Remember, though, in that that playoff series against the Nationals in 2012, what a huge piece he was to the Cardinals' comeback. 9th inning in Game 5, he and Pete Kozma had big hits.
The middle infielders. Descalso played every position, though, for the Cardinals.
John, he's played mostly third base here when Lamb was out, but second base, played some outfield. He's even pitched a little bit. Peralta at first with 2 down. Lugo already 21 pitches in the first inning, not nearly as efficient as he was on Sunday night. But this is a Diamondbacks team that will make you work. Saw that last night with Jason Vargas as well early in the game. Curveball lined into right center, a base hit. Peralta will go first to third, and Descalso keeps on hitting. And the Diamondbacks have runners at the corners with 2 out.
The rare hit off the curveball of Lugo by Descalso. So a little bit of trouble here early in the game. Ball down, just good hitting, as he has been red hot.
I mean, a rare hit by a left-hand batter. The lefties were hitting 116 against Lugo for the season coming into the night. Torey Lovullo stacked his lineup with lefties, and now Descalso makes that look prescient. Now the right-hand batting Nick Ahmed, 0 for 2 last night, but he drew a pair of walks, one with the bases loaded against Sewald, that padded the Diamondbacks' victory. So a big spot here for Lugo with his team already down 1-0, given the offensive woes. And Ahmed pounds one into the ground, 0-1. I mean, if you're a starting pitcher for the Mets right now, you got to tell yourself this is it.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, you saw a little bit of offense with 3 swings last night, but not enough to make you feel as though you can make a couple of mistakes.
He knows that better than anybody.
That's right.
Even when he makes no mistakes. Next outing for Jake will be at Coors Field on Monday night. Be interesting to see how he handles that environment. Slider off the plate from Lugo, 1-1. Steven Matz should be good to go tomorrow night. Had his start pushed back a couple of days because of a blister. And then Zach Wheeler goes on Sunday. One and 2 to Ahmed.
A lot of breaking stuff from Lugo here in this first inning. He hasn't really established his fastball.
.25 pitches deep in this first inning and still trying to find the trap door. 1-2 to Ahmed, and he lifts one foul. Nick Ahmed, Massachusetts native.
That's right.
University of Connecticut product.
East Longmeadow, I think, is where he's from. UConn teammate of George Springer.
Got him from the Braves in that Justin Upton trade. It's a long time ago now. 1-2 coming. Curveball in the dirt. He's got him on strikes. And Plawecki will go over and slap a tag on him. And that retires the side. Second strikeout for Lugo. And the Diamondbacks settle for the 1 run on the Goldschmidt home run. 1-0 Arizona after 1. not running to first.
Well, you know, with 2 outs, you're supposed to run, make Plawecki make that throw to first base because you had a runner at third. Now, is Plawecki going to make the accurate throw 99.9% of the time? Yes, but you still, that's the baseball play. So for you kids at home, you don't just walk back to the dugout, you run to first.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
For like the last 150 years.
Well, we don't do it either. So, I mean, it's around the game that it's becoming where they just give up the at bat.
Well, it's assumption baseball, right? You assume the ball's going to be foul, so you don't run. You assume that somebody's going to catch a pop-up, so you don't run.
Right.
You assume that somebody's going to make a good throw, so you don't run. And what you do is you take the pressure off the defense.
The winningest coach in UConn history baseball was Andy Blaylock, and he would not be happy with that from his alum.
Jose Bautista leading off the second, and he cues one foul. Bautista got off to a good start as a Met, now 0 for his last 10. Filling in for Jay Bruce for a second straight night.
See what Mickey's talking about? He's talking about that Bautista has a little loop in his swing. Instead of going straight from bat to ball, he's got a little loop in it.
And that produced 3 strikeouts for Jose last night. And he has to vacate quickly. That was scary. Was he hit? I guess he was.
No, I don't think he was hit.
Avila is.
The umpires going to call him back.
Well, Bautista obviously believes he was hit. I never saw an indication from the home plate umpire Chad Fairchild. Did he think it was ball 4? It was only ball 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what it was. He just lost tracking of the count.
Outstanding try. It's supposed to be a cutter, and the ball just came out of his hand wrong and just bore right down at Bautista off the glove of Avila.
So it is merely ball 3. Chad Fairchild had to check his indicator. You know, umpires do that automatically, right?
Yeah.
They've got that indicator in their left hand, and they have one little dial they have for balls, one for strikes, one for outs.
Top one's a ball, middle one's a strike, and the out one's on the bottom.
And often they won't even look at it because they know what the count is. And there finally is ball 4, and Bautista takes his walk. Second straight inning, Godley's walked the leadoff batter. But
there's the clicker.
Yeah,
right
the only time they'll check it is in a situation like that, because hey, am I crazy?
Yeah.
I know that was ball 3.
We need to get one of those in the booth. We'll show our fans one day. It's pretty cool.
So Godley will have to try and work around a leadoff walk for the second straight inning. Dominic Smith, who is celebrating his 23rd birthday today. Happy birthday, Dom. He had a base hit and 3 at bats last night, and takes a fastball off the plate for ball 1.
Well, part of what makes Godley successful is the deception on his follow through. He almost falls through to the first base side, but it also produces why he's not consistent.
In the air, deep left field. Back goes Peralta. Spun around at the wall, and it's off the fence. Peralta falls down. Bautista to third. It'll be held up there. It's a double for Dominic Smith. And the Mets up second and third and nobody out. That ball was hit so hard, Peralta couldn't take a good angle to it and got spun around. And Smith almost put a dent in the left field fence.
Jumped all over this cutter on the outside part, driving that ball to left field. Hit one right on the screws last night, and this one also. Bautista had to kind of wait to see if Peralta was going to make a magical catch, and when he didn't, then he turned it on, picked up his third base coach, and Sherlock had the stop sign.
So the Mets with a golden chance here in the second and third, nobody out, down 1-0. The infield back for Kevin Plawecki. And he takes the curveball out of the strike zone. Another good stop by Avila, who has been kicking and scratching over the first 2 innings, saving Godley's bacon.
I would think that if you're a pitching coach, you're top step of the dugout guy when Godley's throwing.
He was not this erratic last year.
No, he was throwing his curveball for strikes.
misses inside. 2-0.
There's a lot of different ways, Gary, to pitch. Now, the art or science of pitching is that each pitch is connected to the next pitch. So you're setting up pitches by the pitch prior. Godley does not pitch like that. He is just trying to throw the most hellacious curveball or cutter or whatever pitch he decides, and really doesn't care as much on where the location is. So nothing sets up the next pitch.
To Plawecki, and he grounds one down to third. Lamb checks the runner. Bautista was halfway and then decided to go back. And Plawecki's retired for the first out. I thought for a moment that Bautista was going to try and break, but then he stopped.
It was right in the middle of being hit hard or not hard enough. And when he went to his left, I think he wanted to go. But I also think Lamb would have had a play at home if he decided to go. It was an in-between play. Very difficult. With no outs, he'd probably stay there.
Problem is you have the 8 and 9 hitters coming up. Now they can pitch carefully to Rosario with Lugo on deck. Ahmed hit a home run last night, his 4th of the year. 3 of the 4 have come against the Diamondbacks. And another stop by Avila. Wow. Again showing off the backhand to save a run.
I don't even think he's getting in a crouch. He's just getting ready back there to catch anything.
This is as good a first 2 innings we've seen a catcher have, blocking balls and saving runs in a long time. Rosario chases a curveball out of the strike zone, and it's 1-1. And this is the thing about hitting Rosario 8th. Because of his propensity to chase, you get him in situations like this with the pitcher on deck, they never have to throw him a strike.
I guess to argue on your side, Gary, it's been so difficult for the Mets to score runs. Maybe you're going to have to be overly aggressive, and maybe Bautista should have.
Rosario flies one to shallow center. In comes Dyson, very shallow. Bautista's going to try it. Here comes Dyson's throw right on the money. Avila makes the tag. Double play, side retired. Now, Dyson doesn't have the world's greatest arm, but he was very shallow in center field and was able to get it there on the fly to Avila. Bautista tagged out, and the Mets waste a golden chance in the 2nd inning. Not a bad send with the pitcher on deck, but Dyson made a good throw, and the Mets are turned aside. And Bautista was out by a healthy margin. Still 1-0 D-backs. the things that happen, the calculations you have to make to try and figure out how to scratch one across, and it didn't work for the Mets in that second inning. Now Alex Avila, who's already played a front and center role defensively up for the first time, takes a strike.
Well, pitcher coming up, you kind of have to take that chance.
No, you're absolutely right. And, you know, the scouting report says that Dyson doesn't have a great arm, and he doesn't, but, you know, it was a, what, 140-foot throw?
That's right.
Lugo throws a fastball by Avila, who just hasn't been able to get out of his own way at the plate this year. 11 for 93 to begin the year for a guy who had a pretty good offensive year last year, split between the Tigers and the Cubs at 264 with 14 home runs. And Sherlock, Mets third base coach. So take me through that inning in terms of Bautista's base running and what his responsibilities are and what Sherlock's responsibilities are in that situation.
Okay, the first time when it was second, third, no outs and ground ball to the left of Jake Lamb, what Bautista could have done is what he did, and that is he did not go, played it more conservative. The second thing he could have done, and it's all on him, he's got to read it. Glenn has no issue or can say anything to him. He's got to make the read. He could have come, and if Lamb makes a play to the plate and he knows he's going to be out, he can get in a rundown and get the runners to second and third with one out, so you still have the same situation. He could have done that. Once he didn't do that, I think it was proper that you try to come home on that ball to Dyson. You just hope he made a bad throw. He didn't. So here's the ground ball. If he came, and you can kind of look over your shoulder, and if Lamb came and you're going to be out, then just get in a rundown, back and forth.
And then you have to trust that the other two runners can get to second and third.
That's right. Well, Conforto can make it to third. Plawecki, would he be able to get it to second?
And that one caught Plawecki. Avila commiserating.
I thought that caught him right on top of the kneecap. Let me see. No, just off the foot, inside of the foot. Fouled straight down off the bat of Avila. Misses the leather. Right into the top of the foot.
Just to the side of where that flap on the shin guard is. So you want to be a big league catcher.
Not me. Ever.
It's supposed to be the fastest route to the big leagues, right? And Avila down on strikes. Lugo has his third strikeout of the night, one down in the second.
Nice movement on this two-seamer from Lugo. Ball just running just enough to elude the bat of Avila.
So now Gerard Dyson, and you always have to be wary for the bunt. I'm not sure why Smith is playing so deep at first.
Yeah, Smith's got to come in, and Cabrera's got to come in a little bit if he has that bunt when he brings it with him towards first base. Here comes Smith.
Frazier well in at third, and the first pitch curveball misses, ball one. Dyson hitting just 191, 293 on base percentage, but you got to keep him off the bases because he can run you wild. Saw that in the series in New York. He's still got tremendous speed at age 33.
Played a big part in the postseason for Kansas City in 14 and when they won the World Series in 15.
Signed a 2-year free agent contract with the Diamondbacks after playing in Seattle last year. Takes a knee-high strike, 2-1.
In 2014, in that wild card game, John Lester had a 3-run lead, and Dyson and Terrence Gore just kept running because Lester couldn't hold him on, and that was a big part of the comeback.
I mean, you think about that. You think about the strategy. I think it was the 8th inning. They were down by 4 runs. Nobody runs in that situation, but the Royals ran and ran and ran, and they ran themselves right into a victory. And the curveball bends in, strike 3 called. Dyson down on strikes. Third consecutive strikeout for Lugo and his fourth of the night.
Well, this is why left-handers are struggling against Lugo. This ball wraps around that outside corner. Unhittable. I felt the same way. Unhittable.
But it's a strike.
Yep.
Chief pitch cast confirms. Here's Zach Godley, 2 for 22 at the plate this year. And he takes a strike. Still can't go over the green stripes on the shoes and on the socks and the red on the shoes. It's like he's dressed for Christmas. It's June 15th.
I mean, who makes those?
Well, the green on the socks sort of matches the green in the uniform. But why would you be wearing red on your shoes then?
Yeah, you'd want to have maybe the teal shoes.
Right. A little more color coordination, you know. Shoes and bag matching.
Well, he's a big hunter and a fisherman, so you know, they wear those funny clothes.
Yeah, but he's got a propensity when he fishes to have some things go wrong, from what I've heard. I mean, it says it right in the Diamondbacks game notes that Zach Godley is an avid bass fisherman who has sunk 2 boats. I mean, I don't know if that's something you want to be proud of. I hope the dog was okay when the boat went down.
I mean, Forrest Gump just sunk 1.
Yeah, but he made a lot of money in shrimp.
He did.
1-2 coming, and the curveball struck him out. Lugo strikes out the side in the bottom of the second. 5 Ks for Lugo, but a 1-0 lead for the Diamondbacks.
I've given them a great number of thrills, and they've been equally returned. And the ovation I got the other night.
You going to miss them, Tom?
Not only would Seaver miss the fans would miss him. And the same could be said of Dave Kingman, who was also traded the same night. It was an emotional transformation, and June 15th, 1977 will forever be remembered as the Midnight Massacre.
Come on, George.
This date in baseball history presented by Empire City Casino. How about the narration? I mean, wow.
George Thomas Seaver.
41 years ago today, the Midnight Massacre. And the Mets weren't the same for a long time after that. Seth Lugo leads off in the third against Zach Godley. Seth is 0 for 7 at the plate this year. Of course, June 15th has also been a happy time in Mets history. It was the old trading deadline, and it's the day Seaver was traded away, but it's also the day that's hit past the pitcher and up the middle, and Lugo's got his first hit of the season. And the Mets have their second hit of the night. Sometimes if you're pitching for a team that's not hitting, you got to do it yourself.
Trade a broken bat for a base hit. We talked about Godley, how he falls off the mound. So instead of putting his glove to catch it, he just kind of got out of the way.
Right over his shoulder. So the Mets have the leadoff man on with Michael Conforto coming up. So June 15th, old trading deadline, 1969. They acquired Don Clendenin, who was the big offensive piece that pitching-rich team needed, and was a great leader as well on that Miracle Mets World Series champion. And then it was 35 years ago today, 1983, June 15th, that the Mets acquired Keith Hernandez.
Really? I wasn't even aware of that today.
You mean you didn't read his tweet?
I'm only kidding, Keith.
Or his many tweets?
I only found out what a thread is today on the way to the ballpark. Like a Twitter thread.
How many times did he mention it in the thread?
No, once I found out the thread, I know that I don't go to the thread.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But that was a positive June 15th.
Huge.
Didn't need the funereal narration like an and Conforto gets drilled. Is okay. And the Mets have 2 men on.
Zach Godley has been a little dangerous to not only his catcher Avila, but now to Conforto. Wanted that cutter in, held on to it too long, and right off the forearm of Conforto.
Well, he's been effectively wild and ineffectively wild. Thus far, he hasn't allowed a run, but the Mets have had plenty of early chances in this game, and now they've got another. First and second, nobody out for Frazier. Mets are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position in this game. 3 for 52 over the last 13 games. And now Frazier will try to change that. Grounded out to third base his first time up. And he takes the curveball outside for ball 1. It has been a true slog for Godley. He's given up leadoff base runners in each of the first 3 innings, so he's basically pitched the entire game so far out of the stretch. And that curveball finds the corner, 1-1.
And then every once in a while he'll throw a pitch like that, which is a plus major league curveball. It's a shift again on Frazier. 3 infielders on the left side.
Descalso playing second base just to the left of the bag. We saw Ketel Marte playing second base last night in the middle of a double play, have to execute some rather awkward footwork to get to second for turn 2. Frazier trying to snap an 0 for 13 stretch. Down in the count, 1-2. And Todd pulls one over the bag. That's a fair ball going down the line. Lugo will score. Conforto to third. He'll stop there. Todd Frazier has an RBI double, and the Mets tie the game at 1. A much needed big hit for Frazier and the Mets to get even in this game.
Godley tried to go to the well too often there. 2 successive fastballs inside. Frazier gets to that one and hits it down the line. Lamb was way off that line, and that's why it got past him. So they were playing him to pull with 3 infielders, but the third baseman off the line at third.
First run on something other than a home run for the Mets since Jay Bruce had that 2-run double Tuesday night in Atlanta. And now second and third, still nobody out. And Brandon Nimmo, the infield, stays back. Nimmo grounded to short his first time up. And he tries to hit one the other way and fouls it off. Got that big hole on the left side of the infield. Not a bad place to be shooting for with 2 in scoring position.
Well, this time he got some decent speed at third base in Conforto.
And Nimmo badly fooled on that curveball. 0-2.
It's in a perfect world, Gary. You get a base hit to right field or pull the ball, get Conforto in, and get Frazier over. But that curveball not even close. Watch where Godley goes when he releases this pitch. Completely out of the picture.
Asdrubal Cabrera waiting on deck. 0-2 to Nimmo. And he just got a piece of that one. Just curveball after curveball after curveball.
You know, it was interesting when Frazier got his hit. Lugo was on second base. Avila only gave 1 sign. He didn't give 3 signs because with the pitcher on second, he figures he's not going to relay what the sign was, and he just gave the 1 fastball in sign.
Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting that the catcher would choose to do that. But pitcher's probably not going to tell a hitter. They don't have that worked out.
Really?
Yeah.
And that curveball just missed. Godley thought he had it. Chad Fairchild said no. 1-2. I mean, it's still your teammate.
I mean, what do you do if you don't have a sign? Would you raise your hands up and go, "Hey, Todd, it's coming"? I mean, you know.
Maybe you should have a sign.
There you go. I would talk in between innings and say, "Hey, Todd, when I was out there, they only giving 1 sign. Do you want to know?"
Maybe he did know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time since the Mets have had a hit with a runner in scoring position. Maybe Lugo gave him information.
Maybe he did, but what the Mets need to do now is add on.
Yes. Well, they haven't had a really big inning in a long time. They've gone 113 innings without 4 men reaching safely in the same inning. Nimmo down on strikes for the first out. Think about that. They've had 3 men on in this inning.
Yeah.
But it's now 113 coming into the night, so 115 innings since they've had 4 men on base in the same inning.
Out of the picture again is Godley, but he's got a good one when he throws it properly. He learned his curveball or refined it when Jeremy Hellickson was a pitcher here.
He would certainly invite you to bunt against him, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Anything to the left of the mound, he's got no chance. So now Cabrera in the infield is going to come in now with 1 out. Cabrera struck out his first time up. Interesting move here to bring the infield in a tie game in the 3rd with 2 in scoring position.
You could pitch Cabrera real closely and then set up the double play for Bautista. Don't give him anything to hit.
I'm not sure if I do that with how Godley is struggling with his command.
Absolutely, yeah.
Look how Bautista Iron Mike that ball over to the opposing dugout.
It's pretty funny. I watch him. Got a good sense of humor.
Conforto at 3rd, Frazier at 2nd with 1 out, a run home in the inning. And Cabrera lays off another one in the dirt. Avila, for maybe the 4th time already in this game, saves a run with a block.
Turns that glove over, throws his chest protector forward, and keeps that ball in front of him.
Poor Lavelle's got to run out of roll aids watching this guy pitch. Do managers still do roll aids commercials?
I don't know. Since Davey?
1-2 to Cabrera.
Defensive runs saved by Mr. Avila in this game. Some have not been traditional because they've been so far off the plate, but he's got the job done.
It's like Barishnikov and a chest protector back there.
Oh.
Godley could use a strikeout. He just got one against Nimmo. Now he's ahead on Cabrera, 1-2. And as dribble goes down on the curveball, 2 men down. So back-to-back strikeouts for Godley, and now he has a chance to limit the damage.
Well, there's really no science to what he's doing. He's just throwing that real good curveball over and over and over again.
And Cabrera's in a really bad way right now. 0 for his last 16, and has not looked really good doing it.
Think about it. All the curveballs he's thrown, the only one that was a strike was the last one to Nimmo.
So now Bautista, who drew a walk his first time up. Mets had a run home, second and third, and nobody out. The last inning, they had second and third, nobody out, didn't score. And they might waste a similar opportunity here. Conforto hit by a pitch. Frazier drove in a run with a double. But Godley has struck out the next 2. And Bautista takes a strike, 1-1. Mets in this game are already 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. It's only the third inning. Talk about pitching under duress. Godley's been doing it just about every step of the way. Still only 1 run allowed. And Bautista takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Well, highly leveraged situations is what they call it now, or the Mets call it.
Stressful innings.
I don't know, every inning I threw in the major league seems stressful to me.
Two coming off the plate with a cutter, and it's 3-2.
That really was just a show pitch. He thought he would try to hit that outside corner. If it wasn't a perfect pitch, he'll just come back to his bread and butter.
If Bautista keeps the inning going, Dominic Smith would be next. And now Avila is going to go out and talk to Godley before he throws the next one. Report from the commissioner yesterday, mound visits have been cut in half with the new rule. Take one down.
Take one down. You know, I think right there they're changing the signs because, you know, the veteran Frazier's on second base. Just want to change it up for this all-important pitch.
Three and 2 to Bautista. And the curveball fouled at the plate. What did we say? 39% curveballs coming in?
Yeah, 39%. Only Lance McCullers Jr. throws more at 43%.
Is he? Feels like he's higher than that tonight. Like he's 55%.
He throws 34% of the fastball. The only one who throws it less is Tanaka.
Yeah, we saw that.
27%.
He throws all those splits. 7th pitch of the at bat coming to Bautista. And he misses low. No, he got him looking. Oh, wow. Bautista very unhappy with Chad Fairchild. on a pitch that looked as though it might have been below the knees. But Godley strikes out 3 in a row to limit the damage to 1 run. Take a look. Ooh, wow. 1-1 game in the 3rd. Strike 3 call. They got Zach Godley through the top of the 3rd. Now John Jay leads off the bottom of the inning and takes a strike from Seth Lugo.
Well, it's a G pitch cast. I'm not going to look at it because I know just from watching the pitch live that it was low. And if you watch the catcher in that sequence, Avila, he took that ball from where he caught it and he raised it about a foot because that's where he needed, or he thought he needed to get the call from Chad Fairchild.
And get it, he did. Jay lines a curveball to center for a base hit. Second hit that Lugo's given up to a left-hand batter on a curveball.
Pretty good pitch. This Jay was up to it. I know that you drive analytics people crazy, but John Jay's a winning player. It doesn't matter where he goes, he always does something within the game to help your team try to win the game.
It was a perfect leadoff hitter in lifetime. On base percentage over 350. Here's Goldschmidt, who drove a home run the opposite way his first time up, his 14th of the year. Goldschmidt hitting 2nd in the order tonight, 13th time this year he's done that. Mostly he's hit 3rd. They got Lamb in the 3 spot tonight. And that curveball bends in for a strike. It's the war of the curveballs tonight.
Yes, it is.
Lugo and Godley. And Goldschmidt bounces one foul. Spectrum high-speed pitch tonight. Does he win a prize for that or something?
Yeah, one of those measly little animals you get from the carnival.
Oh, you don't get like the.
You don't get the big one. You get
the big panda.
No, after about your 4th Spectrum, you get the big panda.
0-2 to Goldschmidt. And that comes up and in.
Trying to go down and away, and that ball just got away from Lugo.
Nobody wants to come inside against Goldschmidt. That's how they were getting him out when he was cold. As we saw last night, that doesn't necessarily work right now. That's lined the other way. His second opposite field hit of the night. Jay will go first to third. And the Diamondbacks at the table set first and third and nobody out.
It's 22 for 40 now for Goldschmidt. Fastball is supposed to be weighting down. It catches the inside part of the plate, and Goldschmidt kind of just inside outed it. So with 2 strikes, a big slugger like Goldschmidt has a 2-strike approach.
So after the Mets left countless money on the table the last couple of innings, the Diamondbacks poised to regain the lead with Jay at third and Goldschmidt at first and Jake Lamb at the plate. Lamb struck out his first time up on a slider on a changeup from Lugo. That's at the infield to double play depth. And a first pitch curveball line to right. That's going to fall in for a base hit, and the Diamondbacks are back in front. 3 straight hits. Jay comes in to score on the Lamb RBI hit, and it's 2-1 Arizona.
Another curveball hit, third one to a left-handed hitter for the Diamondbacks against Lugo.
Something that Seth has not been used to this year. He has been controlling the left-hand hitters, but not so far tonight.
In the last 16 games, the Diamondbacks are 12-4. They're averaging over 7 runs per game.
And they had that stretch where they scored 8 or more in 5 straight. So now David Peralta, who walked his first time up. 5 hits now against Lugo, including 3 in a row to start this third inning. And it's in at the knees for a strike to Peralta, 0-1. Goldschmidt at second, Lamb at first. And Peralta hits one down to first, grabbed by Smith, out at second, Rosario to first, too late. Peralta runs just too well for them to double him up. They get the 3-6 force for the first down, and over to third goes Goldschmidt.
Well, good play by Dominic to get to this ball and get rid of it quickly. In between hop. This is a little dangerous throw by Rosario because you got the pitcher on the run, and it seemed like Seth Lugo got his feet crossed up a little bit when he got to first, so he couldn't get the bag in time.
Trying to drag that foot over the bag as he caught it. Fortunate they didn't get stepped on by Peralta. So now first and third and 1 out. And here's Descalzo, who singled to center on a curveball his first time up. Takes the first pitch fastball high. I haven't seen a lot of that from Lugo tonight, the elevated fastball.
Well, they really haven't allowed him to get to 2 strikes, you know, even though he has the 5 punch outs. He's gotten them mostly on breaking pitches and changeups.
That curveball lifted to center. That'll get a run in as Goldschmidt tags. Conforto reels it in. Goldschmidt comes home. The throw goes to second. Sacrifice fly for Descalzo makes it 3-1 Arizona.
Well, what the Mets weren't able to do, the Diamondbacks have done, and that is situationally hit to get runners in.
Mets 2 innings in a row had second and third and nobody out and didn't score. That's it's a really hard way to try and win games. And now Arizona with a 3-1 lead. Here's Nick Ahmed, who struck out his first time up. Peralta at first with 2 out. And Ahmed takes the sinker low and in. Peralta 2 stolen bases this year. Lugo does as good a job as anybody on the Mets staff. of controlling the running game. He and DeGrom, of course. Is there anything DeGrom doesn't do well?
Not yet. Haven't found it yet.
2-0 to Ahmed.
Lugo wants a new ball.
You know, we'll see what Jay can do. Whether he can pitch at altitude. That's the next thing.
I don't care what kind of pitcher you are. You always look at that schedule and go, I pitch in Arizona. Oh, nope. Colorado.
I'm sorry, we love Brian Chiclo, but no Met fan wants to see him next to Jacob DeGrom right now.
You might have a callus that maybe is shaving down. Hard to see. Gary DeSarcina's nice blockage.
Is that calculated?
I don't know.
3-1 now to Ahmed.
So Lugo really lacks. Oh no, it's like a kind of a finger massage, pressure points around the thumb area. Yeah, you have that done.
Nothing to be alarmed about is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely zero.
Fly ball along the left field line. Bautista over. And that retires the side, but not before the Diamondbacks played a pair. They lead 3-1 after 3. Denver for 4 before coming home to play the Dodgers and the Pirates on their next home span. Speaking of which, the Mets will welcome back Dead and Company to Citi Field tonight and tomorrow night. Original members of the Grateful Dead plus John Mayer performing 2 sets of music drawing from the Dead's historic catalog of songs. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Dead and Company. Dominic Smith on his 23rd birthday, leading off in the 4th with the Mets down a pair. Dominic doubled off the wall and left his first time up. The Mets have let Zach Godley slither away 3 innings in a row. This one's hooked down the right field line toward the pole. It's out of here off the foul pole. Dominic Smith with his first home run of the season and gets the Mets back to within a run. It's 3-2.
Have a day, Dominic, on your birthday. That was a breaking ball there from Godley.
The last time Dominic Smith hit a home run at any level was April 11th. He hit just 2 for Vegas this year. Now he has his first big league home run, and he hits it on his birthday.
Well, he hit it so hard it didn't have time to go foul. Breaking ball, down and in. Line drive, rings off the post.
Doink. Plawecki bounces one just foul.
Home run and double on your birthday. That's a nice start, isn't it?
.22 or 2 for 2. Plawecki grounded out his first time up. So the Mets, who had 3 home runs last night, pick up their first tonight.
4 solos.
It's funny how that works, right? And all those runners on base in the first 3 innings. Could cash in only one of them. The long ball was a long time in coming. He's had so many people ask him about it too. What's going on, Don? How come you're not hitting any home runs? Now we'll just have to listen to people after the game ask him. So you hit a home run.
That's right.
What about that?
I mean, I felt so bad when I saw him. I just said hello. I didn't even ask him about the home runs because I figured everyone had.
9 home runs last year in his cameo with the Mets. And Plawecki takes a strike, 3 and 2. Rosario next. And the breaking ball outside, ball 4. And so Godley continues to hand the Mets base runners. That's their 3rd walk. Doug Williams and SNY MLB insider, that's a lot of initials, Andy Martino, our buddy Andy Martino with Doug Williams. They discussed the Mets offensive struggles, trade possibilities, and the ongoing issues with Jose Reyes on the latest Shea Anything podcast. Search Shea Anything and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Get a little pamphlet, the Orwellian School of Writing for
Here's Rosario, who hit the fly ball that resulted in a double play. He tries to drop down a bunt, misses, and then Plawecki gets hung out to dry, and he's tagged out. Alex Avila's had himself a fine defensive game, but Rosario bunting through it, and Plawecki thought he was going to get it down, and he did.
He slipped and fell, but still you have to make sure the ball's down before you really make any move towards second base.
Fell once, fell twice. That's driven toward the gap in right center, but overcomes Jay to make the catch, and that's the 2nd out. Let's see if that was a caught stealing. He sort of moved towards second.
That's a pickoff to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's pickoff either way, but
yeah,
technically,
yeah, what they call it.
It's a matter of whether you've made a distinct move towards second. Either way, 2 out of the inning. Here's Lugo, who scored the first mid-run after singling in the 3rd, his first hit of the year. Seth can be a long ball. Freddie had a home run last year against the Rockies.
At home, though, right?
Yep. No, he didn't need altitude. Right down the left field line, the way I recall. He chases the curveball, and it's 0-2. Mets have had base runners galore, but somehow Zach Godley still has the lead.
Just talk about getting a taste of your own medicine is what's happening here from Godley to Lugo with the curveball.
fouls off the cutter.
If I threw as many breaking balls as Zach Godley when I pitched, I wouldn't be able to use the remote control the next day.
Well, he threw one more and he struck out Lugo. So much for changing channels. Don't change that channel. See, everybody should throw curveballs. Then they wouldn't be able to switch off our broadcast.
That's right.
Scenic shots that there are cacti in Arizona.
I think we're a little obsessed, yeah.
On the road in Arizona, presented by Old Dominion. Did you know? Oh, I like the picture. Did you know that there are more average days of temperatures over 90 in Phoenix than in any other city in the country? I mean, maybe not as many as in Riyadh, but more than in Tucson or Las Vegas.
That's right.
Hi, Keith. This is not a fun stopover for Keith.
Keith looks gassed there in that picture.
Well, that's because his knee hurts. 3-2 Arizona as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Alex Avila leads off. Avila struck out his first time up. 5 strikeouts for Lugo over the first 3 innings, but hasn't been nearly as sharp as he was in his last start Sunday night against the Yankees. He's given up several hits against his curveball, particularly to the left-hand batters.
I don't know if you've noticed, but his fastball just does not have it today. Against the Yankees, he threw some up to 97, a lot of 95s. He's down to 91, 92 now.
Well, the 84 pitches he threw in his last start was a season high. As Avila flies one foul down the left side.
Well, there really is, I think, we've seen for him this year that when in the bullpen and we're properly rested, and for 2 innings, there's a real uptick in his velocity. He won't have that if he continues to start over time.
I mean, we did see some of that in his 2 prior starts against the Cubs and the Yankees, but
that'll go a little backwards as the more work that he gets.
I think given full health to this rotation, Lugo will be back in the bullpen.
I agree. I think he's a real, not that he's not a strength as a starter, he absolutely is, but he's a difference maker in the bullpen.
And one that the Mets badly lack right now, particularly with Familia on the corner 2-2. Familia should be back when he's eligible, which is Sunday, I believe.
Okay.
He's throwing to hitters down in Florida, getting himself ready. That will certainly help. Full count to Avila, Gerard Dyson on deck, and then the pitcher Godley in the fourth. Three-two coming. Grounded into the shift. Cabrera down to a knee. Almost looks painful for him to get up from the knee. One out.
He almost had to push himself up with his glove to get out of the kneeling position.
Nothing's looking easy for Asdrubal right now. Clearly playing through hurts, as he's done so much of his Mets career.
Need some WD-40 maybe.
Oil can. Gerard Dyson took a call, third strike, his first time up. Frazier weighing on the grass at third. And Dyson flares one foul, and it's 1-1.
Makes sense. Straight up for Dyson. Can hit the ball anywhere. See the second baseman, shortstop playing in a couple of steps because of his speed.
In an era where they want everybody to hit the bottom half of the ball, he's one of those guys you want to hit the top half of the ball. Right. The ground is his friend. Did hit 5 home runs last year, a couple more this year. And the curveball in there, strike 3 called. Dyson caught looking for the second out. 6 strikeouts now for Lugo.
The same pitch as last time for Dyson too. Breaking ball on the corner, and a call from Chad Fairchild.
What can you do? So walk away. There's your chief pitch cast. And then the next pitch is in for a strike to Godley, who struck out his first time up.
Well, it's interesting when you listen to Mickey Callaway talk about Seth Lugo. To me, what I hear is that he wants him to pitch like he does out of the bullpen, go as hard as he can for as long as he can. And if that's 4 innings, fine. If that's 5 innings, better. But he doesn't want him to, you know, to try to nitpick. He wants him to be very aggressive like he is when he's in the bullpen.
Valve off the leg of Godley, but isn't really that what they're asking from every starter now?
Yes.
I mean, how many guys go out there and pace themselves anymore?
No one really.
I mean, the last we saw was Livan Hernandez, right?
Livan.
Maybe Cologne to a certain
Not
extent.
Cologne doesn't use a lot of pitches.
Right. But I mean, how many guys are there like that? I mean, Verlander sort of does that, right? Saves his best bullets for when he really needs them.
Although watching a couple of the games he pitched this year, he's back to how he was before. He's rocket fire right from the first pitch. But you're right. There was a time, about a 5-year period.
Godley drives one to left, and that's in for a base hit. So now each pitcher has a base hit tonight. Godley's 3rd of the year. And that denies Lugo a 1-2-3 inning.
Just went after him with a fastball, supposed to be away, and it drifted back over. But there was a 5-year period where Justin Verlander, who could throw 100 at the time, would come out throwing 92 to 94, and he would save that 100 once he got to the 7th inning or later.
He's doing okay, by the way.
Yes, he is, 9-2.
But no longer has the best ERA in baseball. That belongs to Mr. DeGrom after Verlander gave up 3 runs last night. Here's Jay, and he takes a strike on the inside. Jay is 1 for 2, single to center and scored a run in the 3rd. 8 hits in the last 4 games now for Jay, acquired last week from Kansas City. And he smacks one on the ground, but right at Cabrera. Backhand flip to Rosario, and that ends the inning. We're through 4 in the desert. Mets down by a run. Teaming up with the New York Jets, we're looking to help local football leagues with grants, equipment donations, clinics, and Jets game experiences. Does your league need assistance? Apply today at sny.tv/playball. Lights of Phoenix. No more cactus in our scenic shots. It's a big city.
You know, when I used to train here with the Oakland Athletics, there weren't as many teams, but there was really no real highway system either. There were a few major roads, Scottsdale, Pima.
Did you have to go down to Tucson and Yuma to pitch in those days?
I did pitch in Yuma. I went to Tucson too. Got lit up there also. Long bus ride.
Now all the teams here in Arizona are grouped in the same metropolitan area.
That's right, Phoenix area.
Never done a Cactus League game.
Lots of scoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard infields. Ball gets through the infield quickly and ball flies.
Sounds like Vegas.
Yeah.
Michael Conforto's been on base twice tonight. Walked in the first, hit by a pitch in the third. Third time around the batting order for Zach Godley, who has been in an ungodly amount of trouble and found his way out of most of it. And that horrible turn of phrase needed to be shouted down by the call to the post. Conforto pops one up into shallow left center. Ahmed goes out to call for it. 1 out. First time all night that Godley's retired the leadoff hitter. Giving up 2 leadoff walks, a leadoff single, and last inning a leadoff home run to Dom Smith. Now Todd Frazier, who snapped an 0 for 13 with an RBI double in the third.
Hard back, open, that front foot on the line furthest away from the plate. But that's kind of the hitter he is. When you watch him and he hits for power and gets a hit, he always seems to be lunging at the ball.
Yep. Not necessarily the prettiest hitter in the world, but it's not really what matters. You think about how Hunter Pence hits.
That's right.
It's a little bit of that in time.
Maybe 2 strikes, though. You'll see he gets a little wider, a little lower, a little different stance as he's trying to put the ball in play.
Not this time, as he goes down to the curveball. 6 strikeouts for Godley, who now has a chance for his first 1-2-3 inning. But before he tries to do that, we're going to check in with Steve Gelbs. His report tonight is brought to you by Volkswagen. Steve?
Well, Gary, with the type of start to the season Brandon Nimmo has had, he's starting to realize that pitchers are now pitching him a little differently. He said that he feels like now people think he can actually hit pretty well. So whereas in the beginning of the season, pitchers were really coming after him, middle in, middle away, he now sees them really trying to be finer, painting those corners and mixing up sequences on him. The key for Nimmo, as he goes through this cat and mouse game right now, is to recognize that pitchers are still going to make mistakes, he said, but maybe not the sheer number of mistakes that they made, because they have now more room for error with the way that they're pitching him. So it's about being patient and capitalizing on that maybe one mistake per at bat that you get.
I mean, it's easy to say because Godley's pitching, but across the board he's seeing a lot more curveballs from the right-handed pitchers.
Nimmo struck out his last time up, and Godley gets him again with a curveball, and he's got his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. 7 strikeouts for Godley halfway through. 3-2 Arizona.
Around the corner. Get tickets to see the team expert.
Paul Goldschmidt leads off in the home 5th against Seth Lugo, who has yet to retire Goldschmidt tonight. 2 opposite field hits for Goldschmidt, 1 that left the ballpark.
Both on fastballs up in the strike zone.
And a curveball in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Jake Lamb and David Peralta to follow. Goldschmidt has homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. This was the one tonight.
Trying to go away and down, up in the strike zone. Just tremendous power from coast to coast.
Only the 4th home run Lugo's allowed this year in 50 innings of work. Goldschmidt lays off the changeup, 2-2. Lugo making his 3rd start of the year. Over his last 5 starts dating back to last year, he had a 1.08 ERA. He loves to start. I mean, he's made that pretty clear. Given the preference, there's no question he wants to be a starting pitcher.
He said that, I think, to Steve. He said that he was, you see the last 5 starts dating back to last year, what you're talking about, Gary, is that he was very disappointed when he came out of spring training and he didn't have one of the 5 positions.
Circumstances being what they are, the opportunity at some point was going to present itself. It has now, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. 2-2 coming, and the curveball bounced to short, and Rosario throws out Goldschmidt, 1 away. The first time Goldschmidt's been retired tonight. And Lugo's going to be getting close to the end of the line. 87 pitches. That's the most he's thrown in a game this year. Now Jake Lamb, who drove in a run with a base hit his last time up. I'm sure Mickey Callaway would just like to nurse Lugo through 5 and then think about his bullpen.
No one up, though, you know, in case he were to get into some immediate trouble.
He picks off the inside corner to Lamb, 0-1. Jake Lamb still trying to get his season untracked, but a home run last night, an RBI hit tonight, pointing him in the right direction. That was a good curveball by Lugo, and it's 0-2. That 27 pitch first inning certainly sapped a lot of his pitch count tonight. But he really hasn't had an easy inning yet, other than the second when he struck out the side. Not bad, though, for a 34th round draft pick.
No, like his last game, he had his A game, right, against the Yankees. Today, he's had the battle. He has less than his best stuff. This is how you judge starting pitchers. How do they do when they don't have their best stuff? And when you don't, you give your team a chance to win. You keep them in the ball game, which he has.
Got him looking at a fastball. Nicely done by Lugo, displaying that 95 to get Lamb for the second out.
Looks like he caught Lamb trying to guess curveball, and he threw the express. Got him looking.
7 strikeouts now for Seth. 1 shy of his career high. There's David Peralta, who's walked and hit into a fielder's choice, and he hits a curveball through the hole, and he's got another base hit off a Lugo curveball. Well, giving up more hits on the curve to left-hand hitters tonight than he has all year. It's 8 hits now for Arizona. Robert Gsellman will be the first man up in the Mets bullpen. This could be an extended relief outing tonight. Remember last week, after Gsellman worked an inning against the Yankees, I think it was Saturday, Mickey Callaway said that he wanted to get to a point where Gsellman was more of a 1-inning pitcher so he could use him more often. Then the next day he worked 2 innings behind Lugo. But you know, that's the vagaries of this Mets bullpen. There have been so few reliable guys down there, and Gsellman, with Familia out, is right at the top of that list.
Well, sometimes you have to manage the game the way your team has played of late, and that is, you know, the runs we certainly have documented have come in short supply. So you're down by 1. Lugo's able to get through this inning. You're going to have to keep the game there if you're going to come back.
And it may take 2 or 3 innings from Gsellman to do that. That's smacked down the right field line, foul. Descalzo got a little bit ahead of it. Well, the transformation of Daniel Descalzo from utility man to number 5 hitter on a good offensive team is really stunning. Started the night with an OPS of 885. You don't think of him in those terms. But he's been doing it right from the start of the season. Nice block by Plawecki. That keeps Peralta at first, 2-1.
It's been a catcher's clinic tonight, hasn't it? Both sides, Avila and here Plawecki.
Probably didn't deaden that ball as much as he would have liked, but still kept it in front of him.
Yeah, the curveball is a hard one because it has so much spin on it. It wants to work its way away from you.
But we see catchers who are really good at blocking balls leaning forward more to smother that ball with a chest protector.
They have to come forward to kind of get it on the short hop. And the second thing they have to do on a breaking ball is that you have to work your way for Plawecki to your left, not your right, because the ball, when it bounces, will move that way because of the spin.
Now Lugo behind 3-1 on Descalzo, and the curveball fouled at the plate. Smith tells Lugo that he'll play behind Peralta at first. 3-2, 2 out. Peralta will be in motion. Pitch number 99 from Seth. And Descalzo rockets one deep right field. Nimmo goes back to the wall. It's out of here. Daniel Descalzo clubs a 2-run homer. His 8th of the year. Makes it 5-2 Arizona.
Well, he pulled the changeup just foul down the line. And let's see what pitch this was. He went for the changeup again. And he was right on this one. And Descalzo, like you said, guys, turned himself into a heck of an offensive player. Just hoping that would stay in his Lugo, and it doesn't.
3 RBI night for Descalzo. And an ugly coda to Lugo's outing. Staying to face Ahmed, who hits a rocket to Frazier on one hop. And on his 100th pitch of the night, Lugo gets through the 5th, but not before Descalzo puts a hurting on one to make it 5-2 Arizona. the 2-run homer by Descalso kind of puts a shade on his night. Now the Mets down 3 as they face Zach Godley in the 6th. As Dribble Cabrera struck out in each of his first 2 at bats and takes, guess what, a curveball for a strike. We've got to get the pitch breakdown on Godley tonight. It has been one of the more curveball heavy outings we've seen in a long time. It's grounded into the shift, and Ahmed is there to play it. 1 out. 6 in a row retired by Godley. 1 down in the 6th. Let's check in with the studio. Larry Ridley has a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Big day for Jan Hervis. Here's Jose Bautista, and he pops one foul off the right side out of play. So Godley, who couldn't get out of his own way early in this game and gave the Mets oodles of opportunities, is now all of a sudden settled into a groove in the middle of this game.
Well, his nickname is the Bull. He's kind of bulldogged his way through these first 5 frames.
He hasn't sunk the boat tonight.
No. It was leaking, though.
No, but he bailed very nicely.
He did. He did.
Well, there is the newest Met, Chris Beck, getting ready for his Mets debut. So in a 1-run game, they had Gazelman getting ready, but now that it's a 3-run margin, looks like they'll take a look at Beck.
Yeah.
He was claimed on waivers from the White Sox the other day. Took Tim Peterson's spot in the bullpen. Bautista has walked and struck out tonight, and hits a curveball on the ground down to Lamb at 3rd, and the throw across the diamond, 2 out. Always been very impressed with Lamb's throwing ability.
He's got a great arm, and he doesn't always put, he doesn't always fire it over there. It's just so accurate. It's good footwork, sets himself nicely. I don't think the average person knows how far this throw is from there to first base. Very accurate. Good player.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now the birthday boy, Dominic Smith, who is very much enjoying number 23. And he takes a strike. He doubled off the left field wall in the 2nd. He homered off the right field foul pole in the 4th. First Met to hit a home run on his birthday since Anthony Recker 5 years ago. That was August 29th of 13. Ahmed is there to field the ground ball. Smith retired for the first time tonight, and Godley is now retired 8 in a row. In the 6th, 5-2 Arizona. First time in the major leagues and a handful of games in the outfield in the minors. Wilmer Flores, fresh off the disabled list today, will come into play first base. Wilmer activated today after sitting out with a back injury. Played a couple of rehab games, looked good. Ty Kelly got sent down in his stead, and making his debut as a Met is 27-year-old right-hander Chris Beck. Flores will bat ninth. Beck will bat fifth.
Second round pick by the Chicago White Sox in 2012 out of Georgia Southern. He has not had great success in the major leagues, though.
Especially has had trouble with the home run ball. He's given up 5 of them this year, 16 of them last year in just 64 innings.
But he throws hard slider, split. Big kid. Always partial with the guys who wear glasses. I'm a glass person. I would have wore glasses if I pitched in today's game because they didn't have the real good glasses in those days. They used to just get fogged up. They're great now.
Who was the guy with the Angels who wore the great sports glasses? Ben Weber?
Weber.
Brandon Donnelly also.
He wore them too. They had a couple of guys wore them.
Alex Avila leading off, and he lines one right to Cabrera. And Beck's got an out from the first batter he faces as a Met. Chris Beck out of Georgia Southern University down in Statesboro. Faces Gerard Dyson with 1 out and nobody on. Dyson struck out twice against Lugo, and he bluffs a bunt, bringing Frazier even further in.
The Diamondbacks had 6 home runs in the first 2 games of the series, huh?
So far. Back behind 2-0, and Dyson lays off 3-0. Well, Zach Godley, who didn't look like he was going to last 2 innings in this game, looks like he's going to pitch the 7th.
And get his 3rd at bat.
Here's a strike, 3-1. Lugo threw 100 pitches tonight, 5 innings, 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 2 home runs. He'll put a crimp in his ERA. It was 1.77 coming in. It's 2.49 going out. Here's ball 4, and Dyson is on. Last guy you want to walk. Watch SNY Mets games on the go on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. So now Godley, who had a base hit his last time up. Mets are expecting him to bunt. Frazier well in at 3rd.
A little different thing for Mr. Beck to look at. Probably didn't happen a lot in pitching for the White Sox.
Well, no pitchers to face. Very few bunts.
Interleague occasionally.
Runner goes. Plawecki's throw is far too late. And Dyson's got the stolen base, his 11th of the year.
Well, that was an overmatch right there.
Well, I mean, Beck never even looked at him. You have to be aware it's Dyson at first base.
Yeah, didn't look at him. Slow to the plate. And he'll take 3rd too if you don't watch yourself.
Wouldn't think a bunt would be on here with a runner at 2nd and 1 out. And it's not. For the life of me, we see it all the time, Ronnie. Yeah. Teams thinking that somebody's going to bunt with a runner at 2nd and 1 out, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, why would you do that? Just to get the runner to 3rd with 2 outs?
That's how the corner is in. Now they drop back. after that swing by Godley. And there goes Dyson stealing third, and he makes it without a throw. And we have seen that way too many times this year.
Well, the Mets just don't. They're very poor at defending the running game. I can't say it any other way.
Godley strikes out for the second out. I mean, they basically hand guys steals of third without any opposition.
I would see it as a great opportunity, especially with a young shortstop, to teach him how to pick off guys at second base. Be a great opportunity to try to do that.
There's John Jay, who's 1 for 3 tonight, and takes a knee-high fastball for a strike at 97 from Beck. By the way, if you're wondering about Dominic Smith in the outfield, he started 5 games.
That's right.
A couple in left, 3 in right, just to get him ready for the possibility of playing the outfield in the big leagues. And with Jay Bruce down tonight, Mickey Callaway said before the game, if I need an extra outfielder, it'll be Flores or Smith. 2 guys who between them have played less than a dozen games in their lives out there.
I think you picked the better option in my estimation.
Well, he moves his feet well. That's driven into right field, a base hit for Jay, and that'll bring home a run. Dyson's 2 stolen bases allow him to score on Jay's second hit of the night, and it's 6-2 Arizona.
Looked like it was a breaking pitch here. Let's see. Yes, it was. Middle. Nice hitting by Jay.
Well, John Jay started out his Arizona career 0 for 12. He now has 4 straight multiple hit games. And now Goldschmidt up. Goldschmidt 2 for 3 tonight. He homered to right field to open the scoring in the first inning. His 14th of the year.
I was looking at a stat before the game. So right now, the Mets have scored 19 June runs. Paul Goldschmidt has scored 17 on his own in June.
Ouch.
Yeah, right. Good slider there.
Chris Beck has pitched parts of 4 seasons for the White Sox. Got his most extensive experience last year. He was in 57 games. So this is not his first rodeo. But still looking to get a foothold in the major leagues because the results so far, despite the good arm, just haven't been there. But the Mets liked what they saw and decided to take a flyer on him when he went on waivers.
Well, certainly Mickey Callaway and Dave Island must have known about him, right? Same division.
Well, Mickey said he's always been impressed with the arm. So Mets have tried to stockpile hard-throwing relievers the last couple of years. When they made all their deals last year, trading away their veterans, they got nothing but hard-throwing relievers in return. Jacob Rame and Jamie Callahan and Drew Smith and that whole group. Gerson Batista, who we've seen this year. And you hope out of that someday you have the makings of a quality bullpen. 1-2 to Goldschmidt. And now it's fouled off. Plawecki, who took another shot.
Right off the top of the knee. Could hear the sound up here.
So the tally tonight is right foot, left knee. It's like a game of Twister. Chris Beck with the 1-2 to Goldschmidt. And he dribbles the foul. There are runs being scored elsewhere, you know. Cubs beat the Cardinals 13-5. Brewers beat the Phillies 13-2. He beat up on Arrieta.
Arrieta got roughed up, huh?
Knocked him out of the 4th inning. That Yesmuel Valentin pitched the last inning for the Phillies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, San Diego keeps playing tough.
Freddie Galvi's 5 for 5 tonight with a home run as they beat the Braves. At least that means the Mets won't lose a game in the standings tonight. There goes Jay. Plawecki's throw is a good one, and Jay's out. Side retired. Nice job by Plawecki after taking a shot off his knee, making a perfect throw to get Jay for the 3rd out. Waiting around to see if the Diamondbacks want to challenge the call at second base, as Cabrera might not have gotten that tag down in time, and I believe the Diamondbacks are going to challenge.
Yeah, he was safe. Not even close. Watch the left foot. Boom, it's on there.
And I'm not sure he ever tagged him at all, to be quite honest.
He got him on the knee late.
He was safe.
It's a difficult position for the second base umpire, Jim Reynolds, to really see that play. If I were Beck, I'd fire a couple off the mound after watching the replay.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to go out there and keep himself warm.
I mean, it is Goldschmidt up.
And if the play is overturned, it'll be a 3-2 count to Goldschmidt. If it is overturned, it'll be the 3rd stolen base of the inning for the Diamondbacks.
Watch the left toe.
It's closer than it appeared from the other angle, but it still looked like he was safe.
Yeah. I try to make these calls up from the booth, you know, without the replay, and he seemed really safe to me. Now, on the replay, he doesn't seem as safe.
Well, Beck is convinced. He's throwing in his warm-up pitches now. The guys in Chelsea not convinced yet. Ted Barrett and Larry Vanover are the crew chiefs in the replay center this week. And we wait.
So the problem here is the right foot of Cabrera kind of hides when Jay touches the base. Oh well, whatever way you go, guys, just as soon as you can.
And they confirm the call. How about that?
All right.
So it's a 2-4 caught stealing to end the inning. Too close to overturn. 6-2 after 6. Seventh inning, Zach Godley's still out there. He's retired 8 in a row. He'll take on Kevin Plawecki leading off in the 7th. Kevin is grounded out and walked tonight. He takes a curveball high for ball 1. Ahmed Rosario, Wilmer Flores to follow. Plawecki hits one out to right center, and Jake comes over to get it. 1 out. 9 straight retired by Godley. We check in with the studio. Larry Ridley has another game break. Larry? Do we mention Freddie Galvis? 5 for 5, home run, 4 RBIs for the Padres tonight. Here's Rosario, who's hit 2 fly balls tonight. One of them resulted in a double play with Bautista thrown out at the plate. Mets had big time chances early in this game as Andrew Chafin gets up in the Arizona bullpen. They got a runner to third in the first inning, left him stranded. In the second inning, they had second and third and nobody out, didn't score. They plated a run in the third, but then had second and third and nobody out, and again didn't score. And then after a home run by Dominic Smith in the 4th, cut the Arizona lead to 1. That's up the middle and a base hit for Rosario. And the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Plawecki got picked off first base in that 4th inning, and the Mets hadn't had another base runner until that hit by Rosario.
Well, Ahmed was playing Rosario to pull, so he couldn't get to this ball up the middle. Wouldn't have mattered with the speed of Rosario. Good hustle, though.
And now Wilmer Flores will make his first appearance for the Mets off the disabled list.
Well, that's a pitch coach Mike Butcher out to speak to Godley, really to give Chafin some more time to get loose to be ready for Conforto.
Well, he'll stay in to face Flores. Wilmer's last appearance was May the 27th in Milwaukee. He came out of that game with some back soreness.
What do you have? Soreness, spasms? What?
Yeah, they haven't really ever defined what it was. They said it wasn't a disc problem. It was more of a muscular issue, but he says he feels fine. Played a couple of games on rehab, had a bunch of hits, hit a home run in his last game there. So Wilmer bats with Rosario at first and 1 out. And he takes a strike on the outside, 0-1. Wilmer was just starting to get it going the last few days before he got hurt. Of course, it always works that way. Last full game he played, he had 3 hits. But it's been a struggle for him, hitting .248 for the year. And especially a struggle for him against lefties, which is his niche. Mets are facing a quality lefty tomorrow in Patrick Corbin, and Wilmer will be in the lineup. But at least it gives the Mets a little more flexibility off their bench to have Wilmer back. Lays off the cutter, 2-1.
Godley, you watch his body language and how he skips around out there. He's very excitable.
Well, he runs halfway to first base on every pitch. That's because of the way his motion brings him over there.
The best shape of any pitcher in the game.
And he drops the curveball into Flores for a strike, 2-2. Might be the last batter for Godley with Conforto waiting on deck, and Godley now at 100 pitches for the night. And Wilmer goes down on the curveball. Strikeout number 8 for Zach Godley. 2 out.
Well, he had 8 strikeouts in his last start in 5 2/3. He gets Wilmer on the curveball.
And that's going to be all for Godley. That strikeout will end his evening after 6 2/3 innings. He lasted a whole lot longer than you would have thought watching this game in the first 3. Godley able to persevere, kept himself afloat. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Andrew Chafin coming in. We'll be right back. Zach Godley out after 6 2/3 innings, 101 pitches. He leaves in favor of the left-hander Andrew Chafin.
Well, Chafin really had his career year last year. 71 appearances, 61 Ks. 67 left-handers he's faced this year, only giving up 2 extra base hits.
Michael Conforto, who's 0 for his last 28 with men on base, bats with Rosario at first and 2 out, and takes a fastball for a strike. Conforto tonight has walked, been hit by a pitch, and popped up 0 for 1. Mets have 5 hits tonight. It's been about what they've been averaging for the last 2 weeks. Coming into the night, 53 hits in the last 12 games, so 5 is actually above their average.
North.
See what Michael's done against lefties. He's 0 for 2 against Chafin in his career. Trying to get the baton to Todd Frazier on deck. And Chafin misses with a fastball, 2-1. Welcome to the post-midnight portion of our show. Thanks for staying with us into your Saturday. Always feel quite honored when you decide to spend the late night with us. I feel like Zachary.
I used to love the late night games when I was a kid. Did you?
Well, you know, sometimes I had to sneak the radio under my pillow.
We both had to do that.
2-2 coming, and Conforto rolls one down to Goldschmidt, and that retires the side. So Chafin comes in and gets his man. 7th inning stretch time, 6-2 Arizona. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Paul Goldschmidt, who was at the plate when John Jay was caught stealing to end the 6th, leads off against Chris Beck and takes a slider for a strike.
6th pitch of the at bat to Goldschmidt. No.
Starts over though.
I know.
It's like pressing the reset button when you're bowling.
Oh yes. And then go right to the air. The little air that comes out.
Well, you gotta get the air because you need the dry fingers before you put it in the ball.
That's right.
Don't want it slipping out of your hand. Goldschmidt swats one out to right. Over toward the line comes Nimmo to run it down. Nice play by Brandon. Long way to run for the first down.
Well, Nimmo covers a lot of ground with good speed. And, you know, he has exponentially gotten better as an outfielder since he's been in the major leagues. He really has. When he first came up, he looked unsure under many fly balls. Not anymore.
Here's Jake Lamb, who had a base hit to drive in a run in the 3rd, 1 for 3 on the night. And Beck fires a fastball for a strike. 2nd inning for Chris Beck, who gave up a run in the 6th as a result of a walk and a couple of steals. Dyson was able to come home on Jay's 2-out hit. And Lamb hits one out to left center. Back in the gap is Smith, his first chance as a big league outfielder, which he should have allowed Conforto to take. Nonetheless, the birthday boy snags the fly ball for the 2nd out. All's well that ends well.
Well, he can do no wrong tonight, Dominic. So calls it. Conforto wanted it, but backed off at the last minute. He's yelling, "I got it, I got it."
You know, that has happened so often.
Yeah.
With Conforto in center field this year. Now, you know, Smith gets a little pass because he hadn't played there much. I have to wonder whether Conforto's voice cuts through the noise of the ballpark adequately, because there have been a lot of times where he's called, but the corner outfielder hasn't gotten out of his way.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much his voice, and it could be. I have no idea because I'm not out there. But what I see all the time is that Conforto calls very late. Like, he's not always, you know, outfielders that are very sure of themselves, they'll call it as soon as they see that that's their ball. He waits until he's sure he's going to catch it, then he yells, which makes it kind of late for both the corner outfielders.
I mean, center field is still a fairly new pursuit for him.
Yeah.
And he, you know, you have to have a certain arrogance to play center field, which I think he still needs to acquire. That's line toward the left side. That'll go through for a base hit for Peralta. His 2nd hit of the night. So a 2-out single for Peralta on an 0-2 pitch. You know what I mean? There's a certain attitude that a center fielder has. I'm in charge out here. I know what I can get, and I'm going to be authoritative about it, as you say, early.
Early, and also the corner outfielders have to know that you're asserting yourself, so they back off a little more. It seems that the corner outfielders don't back off as much for Michael so far this year.
Here's Descalso, who's had a big night already. A single, a sacrifice fly, and a 2-run homer for the 31-year-old out of Cal Davis. Where is Davis anyway?
Cal Davis is like on your way from San Francisco to Sacramento. About halfway.
So if you're on your way to visit Jerry Manuel in Sacramento,
there you go.
Stop off at Cal Davis.
Might cut me though.
Jerry Blevins up in the bullpen. Well, Dusty Baker then.
Dusty Baker's birthday today, 69.
Dusty Baker and Dominic Smith have the same birthday.
Yes.
Two and one to Descalso. .23 today. Maybe he needs to change his number.
Right.
Like Girardi.
Didn't work out that well.
Starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Rough outing for Seth Lugo, capped by Descalzo's 2-run homer in the 5th. Godley started poorly, finished strong, and got through 6 2/3, allowing just 2 runs. Peralta at first with 2 out, 3-1 to Descalzo. And it's too high. And Descalzo's on yet again. Second walk given up by Beck.
So Descalzo's had a base hit, sacrifice fly, a 2-run homer, and a walk.
He's filling out the bingo card.
Yes, he is.
So now Nick Ahmed, who's 0 for 3 tonight, struck out, flied out, grounded out. That's 2 runs, 5 hits. The Diamondbacks 6 runs and 10 hits. And Ahmed gets a good cut of the fastball and fouls it back. 0-1. Always run the same car out there. I mean,
they make more cars than that, right?
Right. I mean, we want to see their whole award-winning lineup. But we're only seeing a small fraction.
Maybe they make the golf carts.
Ooh. Now Beck did not ride the golf cart in, did he?
No, no one's. I haven't seen any of the relief pitchers that have come in ride it yet.
Now some have for some teams who've been through here, but so far the bullpen cart has been minimally useful. But it drives in every time, even if the reliever doesn't, and bring like his jacket, his glove.
I'm going to go out there and check it out tomorrow.
Now what they really need, you know, if we're going to go into the future with bullpen carts, are the self-driving ones.
That'd be great. Self-driving ones. Well, I'm sure this one's an electric one, right? That's good.
Oh, and 2 to Ahmed. And misses blown away. 1-2. With the Diamondbacks having 6 runs on the board, I'm trying to look back at the Mets day by day and see the last time they scored more than 6 runs.
Yeah. For the comeback.
Yeah, it was the second game of the doubleheader in Atlanta, May 28th. They scored 8 runs that game. And Splitter misses. 2-2 to Ahmed.
I mean, we talked about it in the open 2 days ago. I mean, these Diamondbacks are a great example that you can see a way out of the forest, because they were 21-8 to start, 5-18, and then 12-4 now. So they've fixed their problem.
And when they were losing the way the Mets were losing, scoring a run or 2 every day.
Yeah, 2.3 runs per game when they were in that losing streak.
Reaches for it and fouls it down the right field side. Almost threw his bat at that ball. Good to see Met fans in the house smiling.
They've caught a lot of the foul balls, home run balls. Brought his mitt. Nice.
We even heard a "Let's Go Mets" chant or 2 along the way. Nice place to come visit on a June weekend.
It was only, what, 92, 93 degrees today.
And it may never get out of the 80s tomorrow. It'll be very unseasonably cool. 2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Ahmed. It is, by the way, it's the start of the monsoon season in Arizona. I don't think we're supposed to see a monsoon, but we may see some rain here tomorrow.
Wow.
The monsoons are bad enough. What you want to stay away from is the haboob.
Oh, I know the haboob.
That's the monsoon sandstorm. Yeah. Definitely want to close your windows when the haboob is in the neighborhood. 3-2 coming, and the curveball pulled foul.
I mean, the Sahara is supposed to have, and the Gobi Desert is supposed to have this crazy haboobs where, I mean, can't see anything for miles and miles and miles.
The Bedouins know to lay low.
That's right.
Eighth pitch of the at bat coming from Beck to Ahmed. And he lays off ball 4, and that loads the bases. Quite a plate appearance for Ahmed, who was down in the count 0-2. And here comes Mickey Callaway with the left-hand hitter Avila coming up. He'll bring Jerry Blevins in for another crack at getting a lefty out. So Beck's Mets debut ends after an inning and 2/3. Blevins coming in to replace him. 6-2 in the 7th. We'll be right back. Well, as you no doubt know from watching, it's been a very rough year for Jerry Blevins. Look at the numbers against lefties last year compared to this.
No explanation. We tried to say really his curveball has eluded him, but
pitching for the 3rd straight day. Wednesday gave up a home run to Freddie Freeman. Last night he faced 2 left-hand hitters, gave up a single and hit John Jay with a pitch. Now he faces Alex Avila with the bases loaded and 2 out. Avila's 0 for 3 today. He's 0 for 14 this year against left-hand pitching. And he swings and misses at a fastball, 0-1. Now the Diamondbacks do have 2 right-hand hitting catchers, Murphy and Mathis, but Avila staying in to bat for himself.
I mean, is it because of the numbers we just showed? I don't know. There's a shift. Avila's hit into the shift a couple times already.
Avila really hasn't hit anybody this year, but he doesn't have a single hit against a lefty. And the curveball misses. A ball on a strike. There are the splits for Avila. It's not like he's hit right-handers well, but 0 for 14 against lefties. Beck got the first 2 outs in the 7th, then gave up a single to Peralta and 2 walks, leaving the bases full for Blevins. And the fastball inside. Talking to Mickey Callaway tonight, he said, look, I have to keep running him out there against lefties because if we ever want to be successful, we need to have Jerry Blevins to get a lefty out. There's really no choice.
That's right.
But to wait for him to find himself.
He's not going to figure it out in the bullpen. He's got to pitch in action.
And that curveball bends in for a strike. That looked more like the 2017 curve.
Yes, it did. And behind in the count, thrown for a strike. Now he can start the same breaking ball, but start it in the middle of the plate and break it off the plate.
Two coming to Avila, and the curve ball off the plate. Couldn't get him to bite. And now it's 3-2.
That was a good pitch, though. You got to tip your cap to Avila for not swinging at it.
So now the merry-go-round will be in motion. Peralta, Descalso, and Ahmed will all be running with 3-2 and 2 out. And the fastball got him looking. Strike 3 call. So Blevins gets his man this time, and the Diamondbacks strand 3. 6-2 after 7. Arizona, first team since the Brewers in '95 to employ one. For more, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, as you can see by that full screen right there, Gary, that bullpen card has been criminally underused this year. Not a single relief pitcher from the Diamondbacks has chosen to use it. Just 7 others across Major League Baseball have given it a go, including 3 by Sean Doolittle. 3 times, 3 appearances. As you can see right here, he signed it and gave it a 5-star Uber rating. Actually, every one of those 7 pitchers has signed the inside of the bullpen card. So a mini tradition starting here with the few that have chosen to use it.
Here's what I would suggest as Todd Frazier leads off in the 8th inning against Andrew Chafin. I suggest that for every relief pitcher in baseball, they find a video of Tug McGraw coming in from the bullpen in the bullpen cart back in the 70s.
There you go.
Because there was nothing cooler than Tug McGraw in the bullpen cart. And maybe these guys will find some inspiration from that.
And it worked for Doolittle. Got 3 saves. He loved it.
Well, he's got the personality for that.
He actually also talked about it being a practical thing that he's felt when he runs out to the mound. He has trouble sometimes getting his heart rate down for the moment, so it conserves his energy.
Well, I was thinking, you know, Heath Bell could have used the golf cart. Remember when he tripped coming in the All-Star game?
Tripped coming in. He was one of those guys that used to sprint in, right? I was always amazed because he was such a big dude. You know, it's like that was like the only time he ran.
Like Craig Lefferts used to sprint in, right? There we go. There's Sean Doolittle getting in the cart.
I also saw that Brandon Kinsler had signed it, so the Nationals maybe have used it more than any other team.
I'm a little surprised. I would have thought that Archie Bradley would be a guy who would want to use the cart, right?
Yeah.
Given his personality. I think Gio liked it. Frazier flies one down the right side, and that'll go foul.
I remember the story Goose Gossage told me that the Yankees at one point had a car company. So
the Datsun.
The Datsun. So would go and pick up the relievers in left center field where they were in the past and bring them into the game. And Goose said he was going through a real bad period. And when he got into the car, Mickey Rivers jumped on the hood and said, please, please don't come in.
You know, when the bullpen carts were first introduced, which had to be late 60s, early 70s, I'm not sure exactly when, but you know, the Yankees, being the Yankees, they didn't let their relievers come into the bullpen cart. It was the Yankee way. They had to walk in. Then they got the contract with the car company. All of a sudden that changed. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Frazier, and Todd fouls another one.
I always think that anything that's original like that has to start with Bill Veeck at some point.
Or Charlie Finley.
Charlie Finley, yeah. There you go.
That would be a nice ride. Maybe the Diamondback relievers would like to come in that. It's a very extended cab. Frazier at an RBI double back in the third, 1 for 3 tonight, giving a battle to Andrew Chafin here in the 8th. And he popped it up right behind the mound. Who wants it? Everybody's there. It's Goldschmidt with the biggest glove. 1 out. Well, there is the bullpen cart toy, which is in the Mets Hall of Fame. That's the miniaturized version of what they used to use. I guess the actual bullpen car was a little large to put in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think the first one I was reading, the first one that really was used, I don't know if it was the White Sox or the Indians, it was like a little red wagon. They would bring the pitcher in. He'd barely fit in the wagon.
That doesn't sound right. Here's Nimmo's had a rough night. Grounded out, struck out twice. All that against Zach Godley. And he breaks his bat as he rolls 1 out to second. Descalzo throws him out, 2 away. So Chafin's retired all 3 batters he's faced. This Father's Day, give Dad the gift of baseball with MLB.tv. Watch baseball live or on demand on his favorite supported devices. Save 50% now through Father's Day. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Now is Drupal Cabrera about right-handed for the first time tonight. Cabrera 0 for 3 tonight, now 0 for his last 17, and there's the aforementioned Archie Bradley back up in the Arizona bullpen. In addition to his 0 for 17 over a longer stretch, Cabrera 4 for his last 51. His troubles mirroring that of his team. Mets have had 5 hits tonight. That one's up the middle, but that's exactly where Descalzo's playing. Perfect shift, side retired. Let's go 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th. Still 6-2 Arizona. Coverage begins at 9:30. Stephen Matz against Patrick Corbin in a matchup of left-handers as you look at the City Probables. Sunday, Zach Wheeler and Clay Buchholz in the 4 o'clock finale. Well, he's got a baseball in his hand, and there's no immediate evidence of a blister.
He's ready to go.
Meanwhile, Anthony Swarzak will take the ball in the bottom of the 8th. Gerard Dyson goes after his first pitch fastball and fouls it back.
Interesting that Swarzak is thrown in this game, right? Down 4 runs.
Well, it's been 5 days since he pitched.
Yeah, so maybe he's got to.
And he's only had limited work since he's been back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dyson walked, stole second and third, and scored in the 6th inning. Otherwise 0 for 2 tonight. Ketel Marte is out on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher spot due up next. This game was tied 1-1 in the 3rd after the Mets squandered some huge opportunities early in the game. Smith hit a home run in the 4th to cut the Diamondbacks lead to 3-2, but the Mets have done little since as the Diamondbacks have tacked on. Seth Lugo went the first 5, allowed 5 runs and 8 hits. Chris Beck in his Mets debut, an inning and 2/3, 1 run, 2 hits. He walked 3. Jerry Blevins came in with the bases loaded, struck out Alex Avila. Jorge De La Rosa just activated from the disabled list yesterday by the Diamondbacks, getting up in the bullpen. And Dyson fouls off another pitch from Swarzak. So the Mets will go into the 9th inning with 5 hits. Coming into the day, the Mets had 7 or fewer hits in 12 straight games. The last time that happened in the major leagues, it was the 1983 Phillies, who actually had a streak of 13 straight games with 7 or fewer hits. That's it out to center, and Conforto steadies 1 out. Of course, the interesting thing about that is that the 1983 Phillies, who had 13 straight games where they had 7 or fewer hits, wound up in the World Series that year.
Right. And they faced that team late in the year, 83, right?
That was the over-the-hill World Series, the Orioles and the Phillies. 2 teams that weren't expected to make it. The Orioles won it, and 2 teams that probably should have retooled didn't because they were so successful.
That's
and
right.
then they both endured a lot of hard times in the years that followed. Now Ketel Marte, who started at second base last night, went 1 for 3, drove in a run. Cal Ripken caught a line drive for the last out of that World Series.
I think it was Gary Maddox who hit it.
Marte skies one to left. Second chance for Dominic Smith. This time no center fielder to contend with. And he takes care of it. 2 out. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. Basketball news. All the golf from Shinnecock. See how I do that?
Very good.
And we'll have Tremaine Johnson on as well on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game.
Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Okay.
I've given you the limit of my knowledge. Take it for what it's worth.
Very good.
Who's the top of the leaderboard, Ronnie?
Dustin Johnson. Best player in the world.
Didn't he win the Open last year?
He won the Open last year or 2 years ago. I know he's an Open champion. I think 2 years ago he won in Oakmont, which is outside of Pittsburgh.
I knew that.
Yeah.
John Jay smacks one in the air to left. Chasing Smith back. Warning track. And it's over his head and off the wall. Bouncing away from Conforto. Around second is Jay. And he'll go to third with a stand-up triple. John Jay having himself a field day. His 3rd hit of the night.
Fastball supposed to be in middle.
and lifted by Jay. And this is the kind of ball, of course, that would give any left fielder a tough go. And Dominic not able to make the play as it bounces off the wall, away from him, away from Conforto, and a triple for John Jay.
John Jay with 10 hits in the last 4 games. That's his 3rd triple of the year. So he's at 3rd with 2 out. Now Goldschmidt will get another crack. He's 2 for 4 tonight, including a 1st inning home run. And Swarzak throws a slider for a strike. Anthony Swarzak missed a month and a half with an oblique injury. Just trying to get his feet wet. It was really closer to 2 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 2 months.
It was supposed to be a big part of the Mets bullpen after having a career year last year. And the Mets need to get him going, especially if Lugo's going to have to stay in the rotation for any appreciable period of time. They need an effective Swarzak. Good stop by Plawecki. 2-1.
Doesn't matter what the score is, got to keep grinding back there. Plawecki is.
He's taking a couple of shots back there tonight, but he's also thrown out a runner trying to steal. Another slider down, and it's 3-1. Jake Lamb would be next. In the 9th, the Mets will have the pitcher spot. Smith and Plawecki due up. That's lined the other way, and Goldschmidt has his 3rd hit of the night. This one drives in a run. Jay comes in to score, and it's 7-2 Arizona. All 3 hits for Goldschmidt tonight to right field.
And another high fastball. So all 3 hits to right field, including the home run, and all 3 pitches have been fastballs up in the zone.
So a 2-out triple by Jay turns into a run. Goldschmidt with 2 RBIs tonight, and now Lamb, who's 1 for 4, singled in a run back in the 3rd. Diamondbacks now with 7 runs on 12 hits.
You know, the Mets, if they're not able to come back, they'll be 10 games under 500.
Which will create a little history if that happens. The fastest in a season that any team has ever been 10 games over 500 and then 10 games under 500 is 76 games. That was the 2011 Marlins. Mets are playing their 66th game tonight. And if they do not come back, they will be 10 under after being 10 over. Fastest any team has ever gone from that penthouse and gone the other way. Lamb strikes out, inning over. Diamondbacks tack on a run, 7-2 going to the 9th. All right, guys. Jorge De La Rosa back from a stint on the disabled list with an Achilles problem.
Well, he was had an outstanding starting career for the Colorado Rockies. And now in the bullpen here, coming back from the DL.
That's put a little hurting on him. The last time they saw him, he gave up 3 runs in an inning against the Mets on May 20th. Mets swept that series in New York. Diamondbacks trying to make it 2 straight to start this series as Jose Reyes pinch hits leading off in the 9th. And Reyes takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Andrew Chafin faced 4 batters in relief, retired them all after Zach Godley went the first 6 2/3.
Well, every time I see Chafin, he gets the job done. Doesn't it seem like it? Good pitcher.
0-2 coming to Reyes, and it's taken down 1-2. Got another historical note here. So the Mets have 5 hits tonight. 9 straight games coming into tonight. They've had 6 or fewer hits. Last team to have 10 straight games with 6 or fewer hits, the 1968 Astros. And before that, the 1904 Pirates.
1904?
Yeah. So every day, this team, in its June swoon, sets new standards for offensive futility. It has been just a deadly drip of offensive ineptitude. Not for lack of trying, but just lack of succeeding. And it makes it hard to judge the pitching performances against them.
Yeah.
You know, Matt Cook last night, Zach Godley today. I mean, Godley was on the ropes repeatedly early in this game, and the Mets let him off the hook. Is that because Godley pitched so well, or because this team right now just is gripping the bat a little too tight?
You know, the tough part is, you know, tomorrow they face a really good pitcher.
Right. Patrick Corbin, and the Mets have had such struggles against lefties all year. They're hitting under 200 against left-handed pitching.
You know, nothing against Cook or Godley, but Corbin is, especially the start of his season, has been so good.
(3-2) coming, and Reyes taps it foul. About the only good news tonight for the Mets is they won't lose another game in the standings, because the Braves lost to the Padres tonight. But still, they were 10.5 out starting the night. It's June the 15th, and they have lost an enormous amount of ground in a short period of time. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Reyes. And he laces one to the gap in left center field, and he's got himself an extra base hit. Rattles around for Dyson. Reyes cruises into second base with a pinch hit double. For Jose Reyes, just his 3rd extra base hit of the season.
Just gets a fastball on a 3-2 count. All over it is Reyes, and for a while I thought he was going to stretch that into a triple. I mean, you're behind by so many runs, that's why he didn't.
So now Dominic Smith, who already has a double and a home run on his 23rd birthday, trying to keep things going. Alex Avila out to talk to De La Rosa. There's nobody up in the Diamondbacks bullpen, but I would imagine one more base runner, and there would be. They have to be a little trepidatious about De La Rosa just coming back from the DL. And you've got right-hand hitters to follow behind Smith with Plawecki and then Rosario. And a fastball strike to Smith, 0-1. Dom's home run tonight, his first of the year in the big leagues, and his first anywhere since April the 11th. Takes a big hack at a fastball, and it's 0-2. Number 23.
I do. That's my first time getting called to the major leagues. I just turned 23.
Well inside. I was covering zoning board meetings in White River Junction, Vermont.
You were.
It was.
Got you on that one, I think.
Doing the afternoon news on WTSL Hanover.
Wow. Dartmouth country.
1-2 coming, and he struck him out with the slider. De La Rosa has the first out in the top of the ninth.
Good breaking ball from De La Rosa. Or maybe a changeup. Take that back. Changeup away.
So 1 out. Reyes still at second, and now Kevin Plawecki, who's 0 for 2 in a walk. Seven-year-old Jorge De La Rosa. 86 wins as a Colorado Rocky, more than anybody in that team's history.
Pretty impressive.
Just going out there for 200 starts for the Rockies. It's a good off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. I mean, it's like 400 starts for anybody else.
No, you're a braver man than I, Gungadin, right? Whoa.
That one kicks away from Avila, but not far enough for Reyes to make a break. Down by 5 runs. 2-1.
I think Avila gets the first dibs on the team masseuse after the game today.
He gets the cold bath.
The cold bath.
I mean, what he did in the first 3 innings, 4 different times he saved a run by blocking a pitch with a runner at third.
He kept Godley single-handedly in the game.
Two and 1 to Plawecki. And fastball in for a strike. 2-2. Ahmed Rosario waits on deck. And not a whole lot of smiles in Medland these days. Just waiting for the tide to turn.
They can score.
One side clean, the other side not so clean. Little dribbler. De La Rosa airmails it, and everybody's safe. Little confusion there between Avila and De La Rosa about who was going to pick that up. It'll be an error charge to De La Rosa, and the Mets have runners at first and third with 1 out.
Well, this should be an easy out for the pitcher. Just didn't get to it, made it a closer play, and then tried to rush it.
So the Mets have a couple of men on. That'll get the Arizona bullpen cranking. Their closer, Brad Boxberger, who picked up his 15th save last night, now on call. One more base runner would create a save situation for Boxberger. Here's Rosario, and he takes a strike. Rosario 1 for 3 and a base hit up the middle his last time up.
That was an error, right, on the pitcher?
Yes. So the Mets are still at 6 hits. That you're keeping track.
Yes, I am.
From an historical perspective. Good cut by Rosario, and he fouls it back. 0-2. Wilmer Flores is hitting in the 9th spot. He's on deck. As the Mets try and fashion an unlikely rally in the 9th.
gamers.
Hey, if you're going to come support your team, you might as well do it to the bitter end.
That's right.
Reyes at third, Plawecki at first, 1 out, and Rosario slices 1 foul. Pitches deep into this 9th inning. De La Rosa. And Rosario goes down swinging for the 2nd out.
A chance to get a runner in from third. Less than 2 outs. Rosario's not able to do it.
And so the Mets are down to their final out of the night. Wilmer Flores will bat for the 2nd time. Struck out in the 7th in his first at bat, coming off the disabled list. So 2 guys activated today off the DL, going head to head, De La Rosa and Flores. And Wilmer watches wide as Avila's night of saves continues. Mets are 1 for 11 tonight with runners in scoring position, which makes them 4 for 63 in their last 13 games. 4 for 63. And back to a slider is in for a strike. 1-1.
And those are faces of players that have no answers.
If you're a pitcher, your only answer can be to throw a shutout. I don't know what the answer is for a group of hitters that are in this kind of historical malaise. And for a first-year manager, just trying to figure out what has gone so horribly wrong. A historic plummet for this team is 1 strike away. 1-2 coming. It's up and away, 2-2. Flores trying to keep it going. Michael Conforto would be next. Two to Wilmer, and he laces one into right center for a base hit. That'll bring home Reyes. On to third goes Plawecki. Digging for second is Flores. He's in with an RBI double, and now it's a 7-3 Arizona lead. So Wilmer down to the final strike keeps the Mets going with an opposite field double to drive in a run.
Just off the DL, gets a fastball up and away, and just goes with the pitch. Splits the outfielders. And a reward for the people cheering to the bitter end.
And a save opportunity for Brad Boxberger with the tying run now on deck. And Torey Lovullo is going to take the ball and give it to his 9th inning man. So De La Rosa out, Boxberger in, 7-3. We'll be right back. On SNY is brought to you by Jeep, the most awarded lineup of SUVs ever. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By Citi, preferred card of the New York Mets. And by Toyota, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Brad Boxberger needs one out to get his 16th save of the year. Michael Conforto bats, second and third, 2 out. And takes inside for ball 1.
Boxberger's numbers on the year: first batter faced, under 100. All the numbers are good for him this year.
Worked a 1-2-3 ninth inning last night for a save. And he paints the inside black at the knees. 1-1 to Conforto. Mets have an unearned run home here in the 9th inning. And looking for more, having not scored more than 3 runs in a game in the month of June. They've got 3 now. And 2 in scoring position. Todd Frazier would be next. And Conforto gets one in the air to left center. Peralta and Dyson, and it's Peralta to make the catch. And the Diamondbacks have another victory. They've taken the first 2 in this series. And the Mets make the kind of ugly history that nobody wants to hear about. They've gone from 10 over 500 to 10 under 500 in record time. 66 games into the season, they've hit the heights and plummeted to the depths as the Diamondbacks hand the Mets their 4th straight loss. 12 of 13, 19 of their last 23.
When the Diamondbacks got swept by the Mets at Citi Field, they scored 6 runs in 3 games. In the first 2 games of this series, they've scored 13 on 20 hits.
So it continues to go in the wrong direction for the Mets. 21 runs in their last 13 games. And as the Diamondbacks get home runs from Paul Goldschmidt and Daniel Descalso, and outscored the Mets tonight 7-3. Here's a game summary presented by Fidelis Care. Mets were 11-1 to start the year. It had taken the 2011 Marlins 76 games to get from 10 over to 10 under. It took the Mets just 66 games. They're now 10 games under 500 at 28 and 38 for the year. Tomorrow night, game 3 of this series.